In 10 minutes, I'll teach you how to be rich through investing, what your rich life is.
To start investing.
I wrote this book,
Complete Investment Playbook with you.
Ramit Sethi, he is the king of boring finance. He tells you to automate your accounts, trust the banks, maximize your credit card points, and pour everything into low-cost index funds. And for the last decade, his advice has been gold. It works. But Ramit's entire philosophy relies on one dangerous assumption, that the system will always be benevolent. He teaches you how to optimize your life inside the cage. But what happens when the cage door locks? Today, we're debunking the "I will teach you to be rich" reliance on traditional banking in the face of central bank digital currencies. Ramit is playing the game of 2010. We need to prepare for the game of 2030. If you followed personal finance YouTube at all, you know the gospel of Ramit Sethi. And let's be fair, his advice on psychology and negotiating salary is top tier. He advocates for what he calls a rich life. His strategy is built on extreme centralization. He wants you to link everything. Your checking account feeds your savings, which feeds your investment accounts, all automatically. It's a masterpiece of convenience. But in the security world, we call this a single point of failure. Ramit is a vocal critic of crypto and alternative assets, often mocking them as scams or speculation. He doubles down on the safety of the regulated banking system. But here is the problem. The banking system is undergoing the most radical change in history. We're moving from money to programmable ledgers via central bank digital currencies or CBDCs, and here where the problem lies. So let's start with the cornerstone of Sethi's philosophy, automation. The idea is brilliant in a free market. You set up the pipes and the water flows where it needs to go without you thinking about it. But what happens if the water company decides they don't like how you're using the water? In a CBDC framework, money isn't just a store of value, it's a code, it's programmable. Ramit's system requires you to be 100% in the system. You must have a prime credit score, multiple bank accounts, and active credit cards. He mocks the tinfoil hat crowd who keep cash under the mattress. But consider this: if we transition to a CBDC, the central bank has direct visibility and control over every single transaction in that automated chain. Sethi argues that banks are safe because they are regulated. But with the CBDCs, their regulation changes from monitoring to permission. Imagine your conscious spending plan being overridden by a government spending plan. If the Fed introduces a CBDC with negative interest rates to stimulate the economy, a very real possibility discussed by economists, your automated savings account doesn't grow, it shrinks. The boring high-yield savings account Ramit loves becomes a melting ice cube. And because you are fully digital and fully automated, you have no exit ramp. You cannot withdraw cash because cash won't exist. You are simply trapped in the algorithm. And that brings us to the second major flaw, the trade-off between perks and privacy. Ramit loves credit cards. He loves the points, the travel insurance, the concierge service. He teaches you to squeeze the banks for every pack they have, but nothing is free. You're paying for those flights to Italy with your data. Currently, that data is used for marketing. In a CBDC world, that data constitutes a social profile. And by strictly adhering to the "I will teach you to be rich" methodology, you're voluntarily building the most dangerous surveillance profile possible. You're centralizing your identity. Ramit advises against shadow alternatives because they are inconvenient. He often frames this as, why make life hard? Just use the bank. This is the convenience trap. History shows that financial privacy is the only thing that protects citizens from overreach. And by mocking privacy-centric assets and pushing you toward credit card points, Sethi is essentially training you to be the perfect subject of a surveillance economy. A rich life isn't just about being able to afford a latte or a business class seat. It's about the freedom to transact without permission. If your ability to spend is contingent on your behavior aligning with current social or political consensus, you aren't rich. You're just a well-fed prisoner. And now let's look at investing. Ramit's advice is standard. Low-cost diversified index funds like Vanguard or Fidelity. Boring is sexy. And again, historically, this has been the winning play. But this advice assumes that property rights remain absolute. In a financial crisis involving CBDCs and sovereign debt defaults, the rules of the game can change overnight. We have seen bail-ins in places like Cyprus where depositors took a haircut to save the banks. And if you have 100% of your net worth in registered, KYC-compliant, system-dependent accounts, as Ramit suggests, you are the easiest target for a wealth tax or a capital levy. You have no sovereign money. Ramit warns against speculating in crypto or gold because they are volatile. And he's right, they are volatile. But he confuses volatility with risk. Volatility is the price moving up and down. Risk is the permanent loss of capital or access. And in a digital control grid, the asset that swings in price but you control, like Bitcoin or gold, is less risky than the stable asset that the state controls. Ramit's portfolio is optimized for a world of stability and rule of law. It is not hedged against institutional failure or systematic overreach. He's betting everything on the status quo, remaining the status quo. And to be fair to Ramit, his skepticism of crypto comes from a good place. He sees people losing their life savings on meme coins and NFTs. He sees the gambling mentality. He's right to warn people against that. But by dismissing the entire sector, he misses the technological imperative of censorship resistance. He conflates getting rich quick with opting out of the system. You don't have to put 100% of your money into Bitcoin, but following Ramit's advice to put 0% in implies that you have 100% trust in the Federal Reserve and the banking cartel. And in the 2020s, 100% trust is a dangerous position. Ramit Sethi has taught millions how to navigate the current financial system. His advice on earning, saving, and negotiating is brilliant. But his advice on structuring your wealth is dangerously naive regarding the future of digital control. You can still automate your bills, no problem. You can still use index funds, but don't let boring lull you into a false sense of security. You need an insurance policy against the system itself. And if you want to learn how to build that insurance policy and protect your wealth from the coming digital shift, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. We explore the strategies Ramit won't touch. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in this video right here.